You're listening to Spring River Chronicle. Audio on the go.
First National Banking Company. Get checking that pays with Super Plus Checking at FNBC.
Bulletproof. Sharp County deputies have new protective body armor by Lauren Siebert. Bulletproof vests save lives. Since 1987, over 3,000 law enforcement officers have been saved after being the victims of life-threatening trauma such as gunshots and stabbings. More importantly, they were able to return to their wives, children and families. According to the Unified Crime Report, attacks on law enforcing officers spiked 40% between 2009 and 2010, a number that nearly doubled the incident rate. In an initiative led by Sharp County Sheriff Mark Counts and Sharp County Reserve Officer Renee Clay Circle, a group of local businesses, organizations and private citizens pulled together to provide 13 life-saving bulletproof vests for use by county deputies. At a cost of $7,620, Counts and Clay Circle spearheaded the fundraising efforts, working for over 4 months to spread the word and gain support for the project. On November 9, the vests arrived after a 7-year stint between new vest purchases. Sheriff Counts had been looking into getting new vests for the officers since before he began his term in January of 2011. When I took over at the first of the year, I had my investigators start checking a website that has government grants for needs of departments, Counts said. When the department found the grant was unavailable, they began looking for alternative funding, at which time Clay Circle stepped in to help with fundraising. We were able to get a lot of sponsors right up front, then it took some time to get the last few on board, Clay Circle. The community support has been incredible. The vests are a second chance brand. The name implies that it would give the wearer a second chance should anything happen. The two most potentially dangerous tasks for officers, according to Counts, are traffic stops and domestic disturbance incidents. The vests are worn every day by the deputies, and everyone that is on the road, and will likely be stopping vehicles or answering domestic calls, Counts said. There is a bright future for bulletproof vest technology according to advancements in the field of liquid body armor protection. According to British firm Buy Systems, liquid armor has been shown to stop bullets more effectively than plain Kevlar. The material could be used to make thinner, lighter armor for military personnel and police officers, the BBC reports. An article in Popular Science magazine states, material scientists combined a shear thickening liquid with traditional Kevlar to make a bulletproof material that absorbs the force of a bullet strike by becoming thicker and stickier. Its molecules lock together more tightly when it is struck. The scientists explained they described it as bulletproof custard, the BBC reports. Another new innovation in bulletproofing material involves carbon nanotubes, an atom-thick cylinder of graphite. According to Scientific American, researchers tested how nanotubes of different sizes responded to impacts. In place of bullets, they used tiny, super hard diamonds. Ironically, diamonds are just another arrangement of carbon atoms. Larger nanotubes worked best at deflecting the diamond projectiles. The nanotubes also quickly snapped back into position to deflect a second bullet that might hit the same spot. The study, published in the journal Nanotechnology, paves the way for a super-thin bulletproof vest of the future. While future vest technology may increase protection for Sharp County officers, for now the current vest technology is a welcome addition to the gear used by deputies. One Sharp County Sheriff's deputy mentioned his appreciation for receiving the vests. The life of a vest is only 3 to 5 years, and after that time has passed, the chance of a bullet penetrating that is pretty good. The newer the vest is and the better the materials are in it, the more chance you have to survive. I'm grateful to get them. Anything that can let me go home at the end of my shift I'm grateful for.
You're listening to Spring River Chronicle. Audio on the go.
First National Banking Company. Get checking that pays with Super Plus Checking at FNBC.
Remembering Veterans Day is celebrated to honor all veterans in wartime and peace by Lauren Siebert. Veterans Day this year was filled with special events across the Quad Cities to remember and honor all veterans of the United States Armed Forces in both wartime and peace. Although November 11 was originally known as Armistice Day, marking the end of World War I, in 1954 a bill was passed to make it the federal holiday we celebrate today. Among the many patriotic displays and events for Veterans Day 2011 in our community, Highland High School opened the day with a public event at 9 a.m. in the gym to honor all veterans and their families. The American Legion Post 346 of Cherokee Village opened the ceremony with the posting of the colors, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and an inspiring performance by the HHS Honor Choir singing the Star-Spangled. HHS Student Council President Wolf May spoke of gratitude toward the veterans and gave a wreath on behalf of the student body to Post 346. Congressman Rick Crawford was the keynote speaker and noted that the students are the future and commended them on their patriotism and participation in the event. I thought the event at the high school was very patriotic. I thought the congressman's speech was far too short, but it was to the point, Sharp County Republican Party First Vice Derek Ford said. The event closed with 2 HHS students played taps and a 2-trumpet salute, as the colors were retired. At 10 a.m., Highland Middle School held their Veterans Day event. State Senator Missy Irving was the keynote speaker. Several students had the opportunity to step forward to the microphone and tell a little about a family member in the military, or just to give their thanks to those who had served. The Ash Flat Veterans Memorial was hosted at 11 a.m. to a brick dedication ceremony. A brick in honor of Congressman Rick Crawford's military service had been donated and put on the wall next to other soldiers who had sacrificed for freedom. Crawford gave his second speech for the day, this time with a different focus. He spoke of the military and what he and others in Congress were doing to protect the rights of the veterans. The event closed with a 21-gun salute and a releasing of 3 white doves, used to symbolize a flyover.
You're listening to Spring River Chronicle. Audio on the go.
First National Banking Company. Get checking that pays with Super Plus Checking at FNBC.
Hardy Smash and Bash vandals terrorize Hardy. Damages over $1,500 in repairs by Lauren Siebert. Vandals hit downtown Hardy from November 4 to 7 in 11 acts of vandalism, causing over $1,500 of damage to local businesses and private property. The vandalism first came to light on November 7 when the Hardy Police Department received a report from the Dulcimer shop in Hardy, stating that someone had broken one of their windows by a rock thrown at the back side of the business. The old arcade was discovered to have had a window broken out as well. As Hardy police investigated, they discovered more and more acts of vandalism. 2 windshields had been broken out of vehicles parked behind Al Capone's garage, and at least 3 rocks had been thrown through the glass and screen of the camper belonging to the city of Hardy at the city's RV park, which has since been repaired and relocated. One of the most severe acts of vandalism was carried out on a station wagon parked behind the candy store in downtown Hardy, with both the front and rear glass broken out, along with all the glass on the passenger side of the vehicle. The antique car that was on display at the Hardy Depot had the back glass broken out. Windows on the east side of the King Roads real estate had also been broken out. A window from the candy store in Hardy had been shattered as well, in addition to another window broken in the old apartment located directly behind. An 8-foot window was discovered broken out of the old gas building. One of the last discoveries of vandalism was found in Loughburg Park, where all 4 porta potties had been overturned. Hardy has not had acts of vandalism like these in a very long time, and they don't plan to let a trend start now. We haven't had a problem in Hardy for a long time, Hardy Police Chief Ernie Rose said. Now it has happened, and we will get to the bottom of it. The culprits have since been apprehended, and were found to be juveniles with ages ranging from 10 to 17. We have since begun late-night patrols, in order to keep a better eye on things, Rose said.
You're listening to Spring River Chronicle. Audio on the go.
First National Banking Company. Get checking that pays with Super Plus Checking at FNBC.
Questions and answers with the Congressman. A personal interview with Arkansas Congressman Rick Crawford by Hazel Fessend. In question, with our area having been a part of recent events, such as an ice storm, tornadoes, floods and potentially an earthquake, how can your role as Vice Chair of Economic Development, Public Buildings and Emergency Management help our residents in the event of future natural disasters? Answer: I think first and foremost it helps us shine a light on this area a little more effectively than what has been the case in the past. I mean, having that position sort of gives me a little more insight. Here's the great thing, too, is that ASU is developing a degree program in emergency management. So, we're going to see so much more emphasis and attention paid to emergency management in Northeast Arkansas, as a result of going forward in partnership with FEMA, who are developing the curriculum. Question: another role of the subcommittee is to oversee agencies and programs promoting economic development in communities suffering economic distress. According to your website, you cite the Appalachian Regional Commission, which is a federal-state partnership that works for sustainable community and economic development in Appalachia. What can the citizens of the Spring River area do to take advantage of your experience in working with these types of programs so that we might develop more economic opportunities? Answer: those are some congressionally authorized regional authorities, much like the Delta Regional Authority here. Now, in the broader sense, the Delta Regional Authority identifies states, but it really concentrates areas. When you get out near the Ozarks, and that's what this is, we haven't have a whole lot of attention paid to the Ozarks. It's a big deal to get a regional authority proposed and passed through Congress. However, what I have done is partner with our congresswoman to the north, and we're going to develop a regional caucus. That caucus, while it would function as a regional authority with respect to funding it, will help us, as a region, better define the region and identify some of the problems folks in this region face. Question: what can we do as citizens who are looking at this and it affects our jobs and customers? Answer: the best thing you can do is just lean forward on these economic issues as much as you can, and identify areas where you can offer businesses an incentive to be here. If we're talking about economic development, play to your strengths and use the resources you have. Certainly in the Spring River area there are a lot of natural resources, and tourism is critical. Embrace those resources and take advantages of the natural advantages you have, and try to parlay those into something bigger with respect to economic development. Now the other issue is certainly quality of life, that you can offer other communities and other regions. For folks who like the outdoors, capitalize on that and work to try and develop that and improve the economy that way. And finally, communicate with us as much as you can so we are able to work with you on the issues, because you're the eyes and ears on the ground. The best ideas come from outside of Washington, so let's not wait for someone in Washington to come up with the ideas. Let's bring the ideas to Washington, and I think that's the whole idea. Question: since it is Veterans Day, I wanted to touch on the heroes we are celebrating today. What message would you like to share with our veterans? Answer: there are a number of bills that have been passed in this Congress, and one of the most important things I think is to serve our younger veterans coming back from Afghanistan, and it is the VOW Act. It helps re-assimilate and find meaningful employment for these returning veterans. There are 3 more that had already been signed into law, and one's the Restoring GI Bill Fairness Act. The other is the Veterans Compensation Cost of Living Adjustment Act and Veterans Healthcare Facilities Capital Improvement Act. So, those are a few things we've done, and there are several others that have been passed in the House but not been taken into the Senate. So, we've been very active with trying to make sure our veterans are protected. Question: if you could say anything, what is one thing you want to say to this community? Answer: well, first off, go Rebels. In the sense of what is it that I do and why, I'm here being your voice, and being in your voice requires I'm your ears and listen, which is why we come to events like this and are aggressively engaged in listening. It's a privilege to do what I'm doing, and it's not something I take lightly. I want people to know I think about events like this when I'm up there. To get to go to football games on Friday night is something I think most people take for granted, and when you miss out you realize how important they are. Enjoy this time. There are people, our veterans, making sure you have the right to have fun under the lights on Friday nights, so recognize that. And finally, I'm there at the pleasure of the people and I work for them, and it's an honor and a privilege.
Thanks for listening to Spring River Chronicle Audio on the Go. Be sure to subscribe to the paper and check us out online at myspringriver.com.